think this is something that is useful for folks in the community to see what Dev Platform is up to. I will just kind of cover some things that have happened this week. And so usually there is like the done section, there's the in progress section, and we at Dev Platform touch a lot of different things. And you can either call it tooling / library / CLI, but for now I'm kind of tongue in cheek calling this non-Rust and Rust. So we can go through this. If you are following along at the top here, we have these project boards, and we are getting a lot better at using these and moving them across and seeing what needs to get attention and whatnot. So this only covers the last like 7 days. So for non-Rust, let's just dive in. Serhi added a view state near CLI command. This is something that is a new RPC endpoint that you can basically just show the state of a smart contract. This is not super user friendly in some sense, but you can like see how state is actually stored. And this is an endpoint. We want our CLI to be able to do this, to be able to talk to all the endpoints. And thank you for adding this test, Serhi. This helps to make sure that things aren't breaking. I believe that this command wasn't working as intended before. And since we're talking about this, there's also some documentation that was pushed on this. That's great. I swept through from some of the examples at near.dev. I think they just needed attention and just couldn't wait any longer and did some stuff. In Rust land, yeah, Fong finished copying over the NFT example, which is amazing. And that is like super important. So if we go to near examples / NFT, and this is where I'm going to do that thing and ask, can you guys see the NFT on my screen?
Yeah,
cool.
We can.
Awesome. So yeah, this is a big deal. A little bit of context here. We had an old NEP near enhancement proposal that was going over NFTs, and this was made quite a while ago. An old one that I will scroll to the bottom here is NEP 4. And so for the longest time, this sort of canonical standalone example was the old standard. So we have done quite a bit of work in Q1 and that bled into Q2 to make NFTs that have like a transfer and call kind of functionality. And funny enough, we will get to what that is a little bit in the YouTube video that we recorded this week. But what the big news here is that we've actually got this canonical example ready to be, either you can open it in Gitpod, you can clone it, it's standalone. This is no longer inside of the near SDK like crate and used as kind of part of like CI. So this is huge, and hopefully we can actually market this a little bit more and just like tweet it out, because it's a big deal. Right now it is not in assembly script, although a few of us are in communication with folks who are working on grants to get the new standard for NFT into assembly script. So at this time it's just Rust. And thanks Fong, by the way, for adding all the information about like, yeah, assembly script and how we don't have this quite yet. So that is big if true, and it's true. Next, we did record a basic NFT video at YouTube. Here we have a number of videos that are under the playlist live contract review, and since we are here live, I'll just show you a list of the really fun playlists you can look at. I have my own favorites. Live contract review right here. So if we just click on view playlist, then this will be, these are usually fairly long, going in depth on certain things. So staking pool contract, pretty darn important. If you really want to dive into how all that works, here we go. Berry farm, AMMs, all of this stuff. So then the most recent one was like, what is this near contract standards and how does it apply to NFTs? So we went over that. And the biggest sort of focus on this was we're trying to remove boilerplate. So you don't say, hey, I like this smart contract, I want to copy paste the entire thing. This is kind of like, hey, you can just have one line in a macro perhaps that like uses a lot of logic and implementations that will get you like a lot of the way there, if not all the way there. Cool. And there's going to be a lot of in progress on this one, I will say, and because there are a couple of big efforts going on. Serhi and Josh Quintel in particular are working on a document about the future of kind of tooling and the CLI and what that looks like. This is something that's going to be very impactful, not just for like developers and partners building on Near, but this is going to touch a lot of folks across the board. If we change our API library, then this is going to be affecting like wallet and all of these things. So while this whole page today looks a little bit short, there's been a ton of brainstorming about this. Speaking of which, speaking of brainstorming and things that are not quite done, but are like a massive undertaking, Austin has been working on the SDK docs. And Austin, do you mind if I give a little sneak peek? I know like sometimes it's not fun to.
No, it's totally fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So we are actually Jim is on the call too and is securing a domain for this. And so here is like what we have got so far. It's very exciting, actually, where we have maybe not done the best job historically of saying exactly how to use the SDKs. We're going to start with Rust. Right now, Rust is like a very secure language. We think this is probably the best choice to build smart contracts in. And if you just look at this awesome table of contents on the left, this is stuff that really hasn't been described fully in detail. This site is not completely fleshed out yet, but we have a ton of pull requests that have come through in this past week. So this is the first look in this video at what this SDK docs will look like. So this is like very exciting. Okay. Yes, and then so Phong is wrapping up a bootcamp ticket involving Python scripts and NADUC, and actually through the process, just learning a lot about how the GitHub tokens work and how maybe this is a bit old and a little bit of cross-team collaboration going there. So thanks, Phong, for sticking with it. I know there's been some kind of weirdness. I think that this particular Python script was left alone for a while, so that's always fun. And shout out to Phong and Austin, who are also working on a ticket for the SDK. I see that there's like 31 comments back and forth. We're making the curve type more, just basically improving it like all around, if I'm going to give a big summary on it. And then the thing that I mentioned in the beginning, working on the tooling and CLI ideas. And this is currently not quite public yet, but this is like in a rough draft form that will soon be in our governance site. So the way that we would like to have new ideas come into Near is changing a little bit. And one of the biggest things is we would like to make sure that we capture all of the discussions and the kind of like messy side of idea formation, the ideating, the brainstorming, the questions, the comments, and all of that. So a good idea here is to go to the governance forum and to start here. If you scroll down a little bit down here, we have a new tag. So we had standards, which would be for like token standards, and there's also like proposals. So these are two different places that I believe two different tags that we would use in our governance forum to begin this discussion. And then once things have like really settled, then we will bring this into like the Near enhancement proposals. But yes, like we are looking forward to having the tooling and the CLI really be like fleshed out here, blast this out to the community, stakeholders, partners, everyone, get some comments, feedback, and go from there. So that is pending, and we're all very excited about that. I think that for this week, actually, that really covers the done and in progress. Does anyone want to fill in anything that maybe I missed here?
Yeah, I guess depending on how we categorize done versus in progress, I guess like done referring to when it actually comes in. Like there was some changes around removing boilerplate for the global allocator and some of the testing stuff. So there was that on the Rust side, so which is kind of maybe important if this is being recorded.
Love it.
Just those quick points, and then yeah, obviously the stuff in progress. There's a bunch of like auxiliary stuff, but it's probably not worth mentioning here.
So it was boilerplate for memory allocation. Is that right?
Yeah, the global memory allocator, and then also around the setting up the mocked blockchain, there's like some boilerplate that was removed.
Yes.
So it's not a breaking change, this one, but it's like just a benefit if you're getting up and running.
And actually here, how can I say this more like human readable? Making writing unit tests less boilerplate, because if I
Yeah, in a
understand
way, in certain
correctly,
cases, yeah, I guess that is correct.
yeah. Or do you want to explain real quick? Because I think that this point about the unit test would, there's probably folks who are watching who would love to hear it too.
Yeah, so essentially, before you had to manually initialize a mocked blockchain and have to know how to do that. But if you are fine with the default blockchain, like if you don't really care what the name is of the sender or any of like the default configurations, then you don't actually have to initialize anything. You can just write your unit test and like call the contract directly, and everything will be pretty much functional right out of the bat. So there's like, if you're just trying to get up and running and do something very quickly, there's less boilerplate needed.
That's
But you
awesome.
don't have to go into this new, you don't have to like change any of the code that you already have. Like it's completely backwards compatible.
I love that. And if anyone's watching and has run into this, like sometimes you want to write a super quick unit test and it'll yell at you if you haven't initialized that. And so you have to always add those two lines, even if you're just trying to like quickly like iterate on something. So yeah, like even less barriers. Love it. And then of course a big news is that we have Jim Barry here, and we are super excited. He's joined this week and going to be dev platform manager. And so there's a lot of like fun onboarding that is going to be happening, and that's a big deal for what happened this past week.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to coming up to speed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's early and I had a bunch of coffee and got through this like super quick. That's what happens. And also because I want everyone to have heads down time. So I want to make this as quick as possible. Yeah. If there's nothing else to note here, I think we can probably end it. Pretty soon. I do believe that like this has been an interesting week of just the kind of OKRs and understanding what's going on. And so future weeks will probably have different style updates, but this is sort of like ending a quarter, beginning a quarter, some onboarding and stuff. So this is a little bit of a fun week, but there's a lot more coming from Dev Platform. All right. Well, with that, I think we can probably end early.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, just one, I guess one other question around the docs is there are some of the PRs to kind of update the framework and stuff like that. Like, are we going to do that before we push it to like the custom domain that we have, or I guess we can talk about this off recording, or I don't know if we're.
Sure. Yeah, I think we can use this time. What kind of changes were you thinking?
Yeah, so I changed a lot of the framework of how the docs are, just so it's more like simple to get up and running and not have all like the extra fluff. And then also just like there's a bunch of content that's being kind of put in. So yeah, if anyone has any opinions, like the only one that's really important, I've kind of linked it in the channel before, just getting thoughts on that, because I obviously don't really have any opinions around how it looks, but I'd love other people's takes just to see like what's intuitive, what isn't. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea, and thanks for being like somewhat siloed and there's like zero design direction or anything like that. And that isn't like very fun. Do we want to hop on a call, like just a short, like whatever 20-minute call at some point that's not recorded, and just say like, okay, I like this, I don't like this.
Yeah,
That
that'd
kind
be
of thing.
super helpful, because yeah, whatever, I'd love any sort of feedback just so that these docs are easy for people to just jump in and use. So yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to go through that review process to kind of learn as I'm going through the docs and kind of hear that back and forth. I think that'd be great.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think we can call it for now, and we'll see everyone next week.